Hello, hello, hello. SG here. Mhm. And I just thought I'd have a little live stream. I don't know if anybody's live right now though. I should have probably checked, but I didn't. Maybe. I probably should have checked. I thought I'd do, I don't know, a little bit of a research live stream today. Something a little different than what I've been doing lately because of the fact that every time, hi Chris, hi Kimberly, hi Marianne. Every time I listen to do commentary, I feel like it's a lot of the same stuff they're saying. I mean, they're really beating a dead horse. They're just like wasting their time, which now it's becoming that I'm wasting my time. I mean, not saying that I don't like the commentary, I do, but man, sometimes it can be really like, like I try to make things funny, but you can only make the same stupid shit they're saying. I mean, last night I took a look at that wacko nurse one there, well, fake nurse, whatever, wannabe, whatever she is. And she's talking in her different voices that she does. There's Pamela, there's Gertie, and then herself. And these people are really talking to her. Like they're sitting in a live stream. They're sitting in a live stream talking to this other woman who has sat there pretending to be somebody else and not very well and not even funny or nothing for that long. I thought this woman's insane. Hi, Tanger. Yeah, well, you're not missing anything. I mean, all the woman does is sit there and talk to, like Munchie and things like that and say the same shit. Like, I don't know if she thinks that all that stuff is that Munchie is, like cutting and pasting those comments is new and like saved just for her special show. But it's old, lady. It's done. It's over with. And you saying it in some a voice that isn't yours while you're like running around your house and the people in your room are literally talking to these other voices is almost insane as you thinking that I really thought you had an American doll, American Girl doll that looks like me that you're taking out for lunch. You remember you thought that? Remember when I made a joke about it? And since you don't know what humor is, you literally thought I really thought that. Okay. So the fact that that woman didn't get that as being sarcasm and a joke, um, kind of substantiates that she's got some kind of mental issues. I mean, in my opinion, yeah, it's pathetic. You've heard her on here before. I'm okay, Tanger. How are you? So I thought what I'd do, uh, yeah, that was her. Yeah, I think it was, but I don't even know. And like I said, man, I was talking to somebody yesterday and they said that my live stream last night was fun and they were having a lot of fun um, in the chat And oh yeah, and I didn't slow. Well, if it gets like last night, I'll slow it down. I'll try to figure it out. But that basically, I think I was so caught up still, and like even listening to Boohoo made another one today. Even listening to that, he's still doing the same thing, saying that my live stream about, the unfiltered Debbie is incriminating to me, not even listening to the stuff that I was, responding to. How many times can I keep saying, no, I don't support anti-Semitism. No, I don't support domestic violence. Uh, you know, I know I did something with my fucking sound effects machine. I put it away and now I don't know where I put it away. Ain't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Boing. I'll do it for now. Um, that's what happens when I put things away. um, yeah, I mean, like I said before, it doesn't matter how many like receipts I'll come with. They'll still say to each other, "You always come with receipts." And I'm like, "What receipts? What receipts? Like what receipts did they come with? Nothing." And I'll sit there and I'll spend all this time and I'll miss out on, yeah, right, Kimberly, and I'll miss out on any of the beauty of you guys and the fun. And, because I keep fighting a battle that I think I've already, not that there's any winners or losers or anything, but I think I've already overcome. Let's put it that way. Well, they never prove it. They never prove anything. And the bottom line is no, I'm not a cancer bully. And actually, it was Sharon who had said biopsy face. Okay. Um, yes, I repeated it, but with their clips and edits, I'm pretty certain that I had said that's why Sharon called you biopsy face. As for I don't wish people dead. Wishing somebody to get cancer, never. I never wished anybody to get cancer. I never ever closed my eyes, broke a chicken's wishbone, or threw a penny in a well, or wished upon a star for somebody to get cancer. Never. Okay. Um, Never wished anybody to die. Never. Bottom line is, at this point, the things, the ugliness, and the nasty words that I have read that people have said, at this point, I could give a fuck what happens to them. Not that I wish them the worst. I just don't care. They're strangers to me. Carry on with their life. Why not wish the best for everybody? That would be nice. Why not be so evil that people, say ugly things? I mean, I'm not blaming them, but I'm certainly not excusing them. You can't want to be held accountable and also tell people that they can't blame other people for what's going on. If it's not your fucking fault, then what are you being held accountable for? What do you always take accountability for if you're not doing something wrong? Right? But you want to bitch and say, oh, they want to blame everybody else. First of all, boo, I never blamed anybody for cancer, and cancer isn't my fault either. It was just something that happened. So how dare you say that? Okay. When I talk about the cancer trolling and stuff like that, it means why the fuck do I have to answer it and hear complete strangers talk about my medical condition every fucking day? Okay? Including yourself. So I'm not twisting anything about Agent 19. What I was saying was, why is he saying I was supposed to die? I never said I was supposed to die, and I never said I was in remission. So when he said, basically, people aren't in remission till a certain amount of years, you're the one who, in your video, said that wasn't true. You are. You are. You know? So don't, they shouldn't go around banging their chest saying, at least I take accountability for my actions, and then not understand when somebody else says, yeah, you did it. You were the one who did it. Okay. So that's the bottom line. You don't get it both ways. You don't get to berate the person who says other people uh, perpetrated these actions against them and then get pat on the back for taking accountability for said actions. Okay. So just stop talking now. Yeah, he's got some kind of bug up his ass right now. And if I wanted to, I could, go on to, him. It's up to you guys. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Either I'm going to talk about the Bill of Rights, or we can talk about Boohoo. I just was, I went through multiple articles of the, Bill of Rights to find one that I felt was the best one for, you know, the nose. So that, in the future, uh, people, when they're saying, who fought in what war for what purposes, they'll know exactly what war. And, okay. Oh, I didn't know that Ollie had a video today. Were they blaming the back chatter on me, Tanger? Um, oh, really? Might be kind of interesting, right? Is it still there? See, those are amendments to the Constitution. That's so fucked up. Wow, he's cute. The guy from No Boohoo. You're saying No Boohoo. Right, No Boohoo. The guy from what's that vampire one? The Vampire Diaries? Um, yeah, the Vampire Diaries. He's cute. Ian Somerhalder or something like that. He's a cutie. Cutie patootie. He looks like Rob Lowe. Remember how Rob Lowe had that black hair and those blue eyes? He looked like he'd be too painful to look at. Like, you know what I mean? Just too handsome, like with the jaw and the eyes. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know he got in all that trouble, they say, but I mean, well, she's not a sweetheart anyway, in my opinion. Ha ha. Anybody could be anybody, I guess. She sounds like a sweetheart, but oh, geez, Pete. Cry, baby. Oh, this one is a song, I think. I don't think it's up anymore. Uh, see, I hate that shit. So, what was it about, Tandra? I didn't look at it. I hate that shit, man. Why do people do that all the time? That's bullshit. He's got his title is Survivor Girl. Busted. How am I busted? I'm sorry. Disclaimer, I do not own all the audio contained within this video, but I am using it within the Fair Use Act guidelines. It's only going to take up a short amount of your time, I promise. This is the one though that really kind of is like, what? The title of it is My Take on Your Offenses. I am using it within the Fair Use Act guidelines. It has been altered and speeded as being used for commentary, entertainment, educational purposes only.
Wake up, Survivor Girl. Had a hard day's work last night, huh? You generally start the graveyard hours, don't you? It seems to be your.
Now, how does that affect him? Like, why is he wasting words and his breath and his oxygen to speak these words? That's how useless the words are that he's even speaking, you know?
Shift of choice as far as your agenda, your long, drawn out rants about how you were wronged by all these people. I mean, you have to start.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, reality he really doesn't have any reason because this is from the other day, so I'm just laying on it.
Start thinking outside the box instead of just listening to you and taking your word, in which I have learned personally myself that you are deceitful. See, you got a system going down where you purposely turn a blind eye to the wrongdoing of the people you consort with to solicit for support.
Yeah, I know, I understand that. But let's just take a look see at something here that I'd like to see. Okay. So here we are. This one is dated September 8th, 2022, right? September 8th, 2022. So that's what? A little over 4 months ago, right?
Yes, the Boo Effect here. I thought I'd put out a quick short video directed to Scott Anthony, aka E-Betters and Grifters. Now, Scott lately, on his alternate account, E-Betters and Grifters, likes to call out people for e-betting. But go to Scott's page on that channel. Go to his About page, and you'll find a link that says Patreon. Yes, Scott is the very thing that he calls out other people for. He, too, is an e-better. That Patreon link is designed to give Scott money. For what?
Hi, Hidden Blessings. Same things that he did the same thing to Chicken Winner.
Exactly. Now, I'm not calling out anybody that Scott's calling out. This is not designed to, condemn the people that Scott's moral crusading for, since that's what he's decided to turn into today.
As if there's something wrong with moral crusades. No, that's not begging. No, you're right, Kimberly. It isn't begging. It's just posting something. I mean, gee, somebody could send you a super chat. Is that e-begging, buddy? I mean, is that e-begging? If somebody sends a super chat I mean, what's e-begging about it? What's e-begging? I mean, this guy's ridiculous. You're actually making money for the businesses that are, being used, I would assume, right? Patreon would probably be making some money off that.
No, this has nothing to do with those people. It has to do with Scott Anthony, since he decided to come out from underneath the rock. He come out from...
But here's the thing. I hadn't mentioned you derogatory. Scott hadn't mentioned you derogatory. Now, I don't know anything else about anything really too much. But then...
And he went the opposite direction. Now he's defending Tiffany when he was one of the worst players that was ever waged against Tiffany. But here we go. Here's his denial, right here. Scott Anthony, e-betters and doom grifters. He says main player and what? 4 question marks. So this...
How angry he gets too, man. He gets pretty fucking angry, huh? Wow. He gets pretty angry, in my opinion.
Hello, this is Tiffany, M's sister. I know I sound just like her. What I wanted to know is, she was taking all these donations, and she was e-bagging like her online boyfriend, like in Legion. And I was wondering, when is she going?
Now, I had never heard Like in Legion even mention you, but you had started attacking him too. I very rarely ever would hear Tiffany mention you. And as for Piss and Excellence, she always calls you Brayden, so I don't even know who she's talking about. I never hear these people talk about you. It seems to me you're the person who likes to make all kinds of fights with people.
And to show the proof of where all the donations came to, was spent on, what was the amount that it all came to? What's the total sum? And where did all the donations go to? Now, she still does, community live streams, and she looks like she's still in her home where
Jeff is living also that provides for. The everything looks the same, but I notice she's not talking about it anymore. Prove to your donors that you are in another place because you were kicked out for being a user and a big bum like your online boyfriend, like a Legion. You
A bum like your online boyfriend, like in Legion? When did like in Legion mention him? Ever?
Beanbag, you learn from the best. I get that, like your sister, but you need to prove where you live and what you did with the money. That it was all legitimate. It was.
Now, just out of the blue here, let me just ask you a question. Why are you pretending to be her sister? Did her sister do something to you?
Oh, Skype, it's so difficult. I don't even know how to run Skype. I haven't been on it in 28 years. I don't even know if I have an account anymore. Oh, that's right. I haven't had an account in 28 years, even though I have one currently that's had an extended friend invite from.
Why do you do this?
Oh, Skype is so difficult. I just rather press the stream link because I might lose.
Isn't Skype like outdated and nobody uses it anymore? I don't even know. I've never used it ever. I'm going to be honest. I've never used Skype ever in my life.
I'm just staying in this lonely old English village, walking around with my dog shitting on people's lawns and the city sidewalk.
Whose voice of dissent? And how do you know if somebody in England is letting their dog shit on sidewalks?
Down the road, oh, Skype, it's difficult. Why does Boohoo do this to us? We don't know how to run Skype. Oh, I don't understand. Oh, what's
I don't know who voice of dissent is.
the problem? What's this debate about?
You see? Now, I would say that's somebody who's crazy, in my opinion. In my opinion. Now, yeah, and he gets all like his like like hyper about it and shit. Here's another person who I would have to say is a little insane too. Okay, so this is the I don't know. He just started attacking lipstick, and I just said I think he read the comment wrong. So here's another person who I believe is it schizophrenia when you talk in different voices and shit? Here's another one who I think allegedly, in my opinion, could be suffering from that.
So I get the French bread. Then I go over to the cheeses because I love cheese. I love any kind of cheese. I'm like Ollie. I love any kind of freaking cheese. Put it in front of me. You look the other way, it's going to be gone. I used to put it in my pockets at parties. Anyway, so I get a cheddar cheese.
All right.
I'm on a few minutes early. I'm very unpredictable. I just wanted to mention a few things. And first thing is the petition is still going. Whoever would like to sign that petition, it's available on Connie's page.
Oh, okay. So multiple personality disorder is what they. Oh, okay. So it's a different. Big difference there. Multiple personality disorder, I see. Yeah, like Sybil. Like Sybil. Or as Krista would say, like Sybil. You see, I was getting a pizza in Brooklyn, and I mean, this woman's crazy.
As you know, Pamela has taken over my community page for the time being.
Pamela has taken over her community page for the time being.
So do go to Connie's page. Apparently, someone thought there was a time limit or a deadline, rather, but that was just a deadline goal we were trying to meet. But as long as we get all the signatures, we're good to go. So, however long it takes, and then we'll leave it up to
So we know what they'll be doing in 10 years.
YouTube's decision. Okay. Hi, Queen. Let's see. Anybody else we missed that just came in?
So that's supposedly her real voice.
Over like with the career. But anyway, let me tell you something. So nothing really happened to the G. I mean, I did spill a Coca-Cola in it. I cleaned that up. I bet you guys know everything that's going on, maybe too much.
That's her Pamela voice. That's her Pamela voice. Ooh, schizophrenia, really? You had a roommate with that? Ooh, they tell you to kill people, don't they? That's what they were saying. I think it was like in a movie I saw, A Beautiful Mind. Like it was making him feel like, you know, a certain kind of way.
You don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to sell your body to the night. Rockstar.
Same person. Same person. Okay. These are the people who like to try to diagnose me. All right.
You don't have to put on the red light.
Now, mind you, the title of this video is Comedy. 100-year-old woman discusses her husband's unaliving. It says 24 people are here. Can we get some hellos? Hello, hello.
Right. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it's right. Slam another one down. Not me. Somebody else. Oh, Merry Christmas.
I don't know if there's anything comedy to do with any of that.
Anything goes these days. They do whatever they want. You go into the store, they push you over. You get on the road, they push you over there and want you to move out of the way. It's crazy. It's crazy. I think everybody should just go have a nice cup of tea and sit down.
I know, Kimberly. Maybe there's other people live right now. Maybe we should, I don't know. I just wanted to give people options, I guess. We could, I don't know. I do feel like right there we've just exposed two different well, she thinks she's got them.
And be nice and pray to God that they're thankful and that peace, love, and everything like that on the earth. And I don't know. I don't know. The world, thank you, JDS. The world is changing so much that I don't.
Yeah, I can't stand her either. You're right. Hi, fax machine. Thank you guys for pushing that like button. There was something that I checked out, and I'm not sure if I read it right, but I'm gonna take a look and see. He is a cute dog, I will say that much. Teddy is a cute dog. All right, so maybe she removed it, but um, it was something about if somebody's Jewish, they read the Bible. I mean, like it was like, yeah. I mean, yes, that's true. Well, yeah, I know that. Definitely, yeah. It's something like, remember she was something to do with they were killing the wasn't it in Silence of the Lambs? But no, 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 no. What was it? Something where she like kind of in Sybil, remember? The movie with Sally Field? Right. I had done a lot of research on over 100. You think she was maybe faking it though? I mean, why would you need 100 personalities? Like if you develop them, like if you're developing them, so like if it was because of a traumatic event and it was helping you deal with it, would that mean that you developed them yourself? So you're like aware of developing them. Not you, I'm not speaking to you per se. I'm speaking like, in general. Would somebody who develop them on purpose? Sometimes maybe to get away with things. Could it be? Not always, but in some senses, or for instances, I should say. A while ago, I did done a lot of research on trying to figure out, the personalities, like what is, making these people tick, what they're. It was just really weird because I never could understand what made these people act the way they did. So I looked up a lot of the different words that they would use and the titles and stuff, and did a lot of research on it. Guys, want to hear the bitchiest urbex exploration video ever? No, we won't. I mean, I was bitchy in that one though, man, big time. Hi, Delbert.
Sup YouTubers, Girl Survivor here. I'm just making this video, like, because I don't know, it'll be short and I'm gonna make it in part, but this is, I don't know, the latest scratch ticket and I won $2. Anyway, I've been wanting to make a video pertaining to something I myself have been, I've had to experience myself. I don't like to use the word victim because I don't think you're a victim until you label yourself that way. And that's the victim, that victim label is, definitely something that the people who victimize you want you to use. So I don't use that. Um, so I didn't quite know how to address it. Didn't
I think you're the crazy Karen, $5 Tommy.
I want it to be a video where it's specifically targeted at the event.
What man goes around cloning someone's mother?
But the particular event that I witnessed is what drove me to have to understand the psychology behind what I was witnessing. Because I can't quite wrap my head around it without being informed. I have to know what makes these people tick. And hopefully you guys are interested in it as well. I probably will have to do the video in parts because I'm going to need to cross over from when internet trolling becomes cyberbullying. Because there is.
I don't even know if it ever really existed, really, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe some people are just really good at pretending to be, maybe they saw Sybil, maybe they read the book and then they decided, oh, I'll do that to, I mean, look at Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Could that be the first case of multiple personality? Who knows? You know what I mean? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
A point where it becomes cyberbullying.
Has anybody ever read that book? I've never read that book. What is that really? I know it's like one's evil, one isn't. What is I should read that.
Studies that are shown, see, trolls will go around and usually trolls are antisocial. Okay? And the internet has provided them with anonymity. So, but they did a study where they took some people because they wanted to know if, regular people, just everybody, if it had something to do with the mind or if.
Hi, Nat. I mean, look at Frankenstein, the movie, the book Frankenstein. it makes it out like Frankenstein is the monster, but he's not really a monster. He just looks like one. I understand all that, but there's also like as in like, fight versus flight. There's a formal education is where you would learn how to differentiate. Now I know that's Laura, fax machine. Oh. Or I could look it up, fax machine. What I'm trying to say is, could it be on purpose? That's what I'm trying to say. Did I say that? I didn't say that. Do you see fax machine? All right. So it was written, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was written in 1886, or printed in 1886, I should say, by Robert Louis Stevenson. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Hi, Tomcat. I could read it to you guys. It's not that long of a book. You guys want me to? Has anybody ever heard of it? Heard the book Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? If it's boring, we'll stop, but I'll start. Mr. Utterson, the lawyer, was a man of rugged countenance that was never lighted by a smile, cold, scanty, and embarrassed and in discord. Backward, okay, and in discourse. Backward in sentiment, lean, long, dusty, dreary, and yet somehow lovable. At friendly meetings, and when the wine was to his taste, something eminently human beckoned from his eyes. Something indeed which, oops, okay, now I flipped too much. Sorry, my bad. I'm going too fast here. Something indeed which never found its way into his talk, but which spoke not only in the silent symbols of the after dinner face, but more often and loudly in the acts of his life. He was austere with himself, drank gin when he was alone. To mortify a taste for vintages. And though he enjoyed the theater, had not crossed the doors of one for 20 years. Okay. But he had an approved tolerance for others, sometimes wondering almost with envy at the high pressure of spirits involved in their misdeeds, and in any extremity inclined to help rather than to reprove. Would you guys want to hear this or not? It's up to you guys. I'll try to whip through it. I'll try to whip through it. I don't think it's many pages. Okay. I incline to Cain's hearsay, he used to say quaintly. I let my brother go to the devil in his own way. In this character, it was frequently his fortune to be the last reputable acquaintance and the last good influence in the lives of downgoing men. And to such as these, so long as they came about his chambers, he never marked a shade of change in his demeanor. No doubt the feat was easy to Mr. Utterson, for he was undemonstrative at the best, and even his friendships seemed to be founded in a similar I could get mad on that because okay. Catholicity, I guess. Catholicity? Probably has something to do with Catholics. Of good nature. It is the mark of a modest man to accept his friendly circle ready-made from the hands of opportunity, and that was the lawyer's way. His friends were those of his own blood, or those whom he had known the longest. His affections, like ivy, were the growth of time. I wish I knew how to like move it with okay. I think I got it. They implied no absence in the object, hence, no doubt, the bond that united him to Mr. Richard Enfield, the distant kinsman, the well-known man about town. The well-known man about town. He was a nut to crack from any. What these two could see in each other, or what subject they could find in common, it was reported by those. I'm wondering, so is this friend going to play a role as being, was it really another person or was it really himself? Um, it was reported by those who encountered them in their Sunday walks that they said nothing, looked singularly dull, and would hail with obvious relief the appearance of a friend. For all that, the two men put the greatest story by these excursions. counted them the chief jewel of each week, and not only set aside occasions of pleasure, but even resisted the cause of business that they might enjoy them uninterrupted. It chanced on one of these rambles that their way led them down a by street in a busy quarter of London. The street was small and what is called quiet, but it drove a thriving trade on the weekdays. The inhabitants were all doing well, it seemed, and all emulously hoping to do better still, and laying out the surplus of their gains, so that the shop fronts stood along that thoroughfare with an air of invitation, like rows of smiling saleswomen. Even on Sunday, when it veiled its more florid charms and lay comparatively empty of passage, the street shone out in contrast to the stingy neighborhood, like a fire in a forest, and with its freshly painted shutters, well-polished brasses, and general cleanliness and gaiety of note, instantly caught and pleased the eye of a passenger. Just in case anybody doesn't know, I'm reading Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It just started. Just because I've never read it, I've never watched the movie, and we were talking about multiple personalities. So, we're just doing a little something different. Two doors from one corner, on the left hand going east, the line was broken by the entry of a court. And just at that point, a certain sinister block of building thrust forward its gable on the street. It was 2 stories high, showed no window, nothing but a door on the lower floor, and a blind forehead of discolored wall on the upper, and bore in every feature the marks of prolonged and sordid negligence. Really, Tomcat? All right. The door, which was equipped with neither bell nor knocker, was blistered and disdained. Tramps slouched in the recess and struck matches on the panels. Children kept shop upon the steps. The schoolboy had tried his knife on the moldings, and for close on a generation, no one had appeared to drive away these random visitors or to repair their ravages. Mr. Enfield and the lawyer were on the other side of the by street, but when they came abreast of the entry, the former lifted up his cane and pointed. "Did you ever remark that door?" he asked. What does remark mean? Does that mean like knock on it? No, no. I'm in the middle of a book though here, fax machine. You think that means knock on the door, remark on it? He asked, and when his companion had replied in the affirmative, "It is connected in my mind," added he, "with a very odd story." "Indeed," said Mr. Utterson, with a slight continue to see the Xantex. What's that mean? Tomcat. I just decided never to call my daughter Pond Scum again. I mean, not again, ever. Not again, ever. Like, never to repeat that kind of a memory for a kid again. Ever, not to carry on a cycle, not to continue a cycle. I was very aware of the incident happening. It didn't break me. It made me a better parent, in my opinion. For whatever my mother lacked, I doubled up on, and then well, it could be traumatizing, but it's all in how you see it. You have to make a conscious effort to get through life. I know, Laura, I'm just a stupid one, but whatever. Um, so anyway, so this Mr. Enfield is about to tell the other guy, Mr. Utterson, an odd story about some door that's in this byway of London. This is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Indeed, said Mr. Utterson. And what was that? Well, it was this way, returned Mr. Enfield. I was coming home from some place at the end of the world about 3 o'clock of a black winter morning, and my way lay through a part of town where there was literally nothing to be seen but lamps, street after street, and all the folks asleep, street after street, all okay, but there's also people who have defective prefrontal cortexes that are, there's all kinds of things. We're just reading. I just want to see what's so scary about this book, you know? It says street after street all lighted up as if for a procession. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate that. I keep calling you Laura. I don't know why, fax machine. You just remind me of somebody named Laura. Think of Laura. Okay. All right. Here we go. Till at last I got into that state of mind when a man listens and listens and begins to long for the sight of a policeman. All at once I saw two figures. One, a little man who was stumping along eastward at a good walk, and the other, a girl of maybe 8 or 10, who was running as hard as she was able down a cross street. Well, sir, the two ran into each other naturally. The two ran into each one another naturally enough at the corner, and then came the horrible part of the thing. For the man trampled calmly over the child's body and left her screaming on the ground. It sounds nothing to hear, but it was hellish to see. It wasn't like a man. It was like some damned juggernaut. Now, I've heard of them. Can somebody put the definition for a juggernaut in the room? It's Juggernaut. I gave a view. Hello, or something like that, it says. Took to my heels, collared my gentleman, and brought him back to where there was already quite a group about the screaming child. He was perfectly cool and made no resistance, but gave me one look so ugly that it brought out the sweat on me like running. The people who had turned out were the girl's own family, and pretty soon the doctor, for whom she had been sent, put in his appearance. Well, the child was not much the worse, more frightened, according to the sawbones. Sawbones must be what they call doctors. Oh, like just rolling over somebody? Wow, I thought it was gonna be like something like a troll, you know, like a like a Bigfoot or a troll or something like that, you know? Um, but I guess they mean like something just like a powerful force. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. Um, and there you might have supposed would be an end to it. Hi, Randa. But there was one curious circumstance. I had taken a loathing to my gentleman at first sight. So had the child's family, which was only natural. But the doctor's case was what struck me. He was the usual cut and dry apothecary. Is that how, am I saying it right? Apothecary? You know what I mean? Of no particular age and color, with a strong Edinburgh accent and about as emotional as a bagpipe. Well, sir, he looked like the rest of us. Sorry. Well, sir, he was like the rest of us. Every time he looked at my prisoner, I saw that doctor turn sick and white with the desire to kill him. I knew what was in his mind, just as he knew what was in mine, and killing being out of the question, we did the next best thing. We told the man we could and would make such a scandal out of this as should make his name stink from one end of London to the other. If he had any friends or any credit, we undertook that he should lose them. And all the time as we were pitching it in red hot, we were keeping the women off him as best we could, for they were as wild as harpies. I never saw a circle of such hateful faces. And there was the man in the middle, with a kind of black, sneering coolness. Frightened, too, I could see that, but carrying it off, sir, really, like Satan. If you choose to make capital out of this. Accident, said he. I am naturally helpless. No gentleman but wishes to avoid a scene, says he. Name your figure. Well, we screwed him up to £100 for the child's family. He would have clearly liked to stick it out, but there was something about the lot of us that meant mischief, and at last he struck. The next thing was to get the money. And where do you think he carried us but to that place with the door? Okay, so back to that door of the creepy building. So the creepy guy goes there to pay off $100 for knocking the girl down and running over her like a juggernaut. Okay. He whipped out a key, went in, and presently came back with the matter of £10 in gold and a check for the balance on the £100, drawn payable to bearer and signed with a name that I can't mention, though it is one of the points of my story. But it was a name at least very well known and often printed. The figure was stiff, but the signature was good for more than that, if it was only genuine. I took the liberty of pointing out to my gentleman that the whole business looked apocryphal. Why would a little kid be outside at 4 in the morning anyway? Why would a little kid be outside at 4 in the morning? Isn't it weird? And then a man does not in real life walk into a cellar door at 4 in the morning and come out of it with another man's check for close upon £100. But he was quite easy in sneering. Set your mind at rest, says he. I will stay with you till the bank's open and cash it myself. So we all set off, the doctor and the child's father and our friend and myself, and passed the rest of the night in my chambers. And the next day, when we had breakfasts, went in a body to the bank. I gave the check myself and said I had every reason to believe it was a forgery, not a bit of it. The check was genuine. Said Mr. Utterson. I see you feel as I do, said Mr. Enfield. Yes, it's a bad story. For my man was a fellow that nobody could have to do with a really. See, because it's written so long ago, it's like, yeah, I heard milk isn't good for them. Hi, Mike Perkins. So anyway, I'm gonna what I'm getting from this is that the guy thinks because the name on the check was somebody who was, well known and stuff, that the the mean looking guy that ran over the little girl is um blackmailing him. Okay. And they're wondering, does the guy, that particular person who everybody knows, who the guy won't tell us the name yet. I don't know if he eventually does. Does he, Tomcat? This is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, by the way. Okay. So he says, so have you ever, the guy, Mr. Utterson, the lawyer, says, yeah, they are. Says, have you ever tried to, go and knock on the door or anything, to the other guy? He says, I have studied the place myself. It seems scarcely a house. There is no other door and nobody goes in or out, but once in a while. There are 3 windows looking on the court on the first floor, none below. The windows are always shut, but they're clean. Then there is a chimney, which is generally smoking, so somebody must live there. And yet it's not so sure, for the buildings are so packed together about that court that it's hard to say where one ends and another begins. I'd hate to have lived in London during those times. Wasn't that during Jack the Ripper times? Wasn't that the same, like, actually the same time that this was written, that Jack the Ripper was around? Um, the pair walked on again for a while in silence. And the lawyer said to Mr. Enfield, but for all that, there's one point I want to ask. I want to ask the name of the man who walked over the child. Well, said Mr. Enfield, I can't see what harm it would do. It was a man of the name of Hyde. Said Mr. Utterson. What sort of a man is he to see? He's not easy to describe. There is something wrong with his appearance, something displeasing, something downright detestable. I never saw a man I so disliked, and yet I scarce know why. He must be deformed somewhere. He gives a strong feeling of deformity, although I couldn't specify the point. He is an extraordinary looking man, and yet I really can name nothing out of the way. No, sir, I can make no hand of it. I can't describe him. And it's not want of a memory, for I declare I can see him this moment. Mr. Utterson again walked some way in silence, and obviously under a weight of consideration. You are sure he used the key? He inquired at last. My dear sir, began Enfield, surprised out of himself. Yes, I know, said Utterson. I know it must seem strange. The fact is, if I do not ask you the name of the other party, it is because I know it already. You see, Richard, your tale has gone home. If you have been inexact at any point, you had better correct it. I think you might have warned me, returned the other, with a touch of sullenness. But I have been exact, as you call it. The fellow had a key, and what's more, he has it still. I saw him use it not a week ago. I know. I feel like the guy was writing this book, and I mean, I don't know. I haven't finished the book yet. So, did the guy who wrote it live in London then, or what? Um, Mr. Utterson sighed deeply, but said never a word, and the young man presently resumed. Here's another lesson to say nothing, said he. I am ashamed of my long tongue. Let us make a bargain never to refer to this again. With all my heart, said the lawyer. I shake hands on that, Richard. So, yeah, my mother used to like collect antiques, and she used to have these little, they were like little metal boxes, little tin boxes, but they were where they would put little pieces, slivers of soap to try to make a bar of soap. Like a sliver of soap was a luxury. People would literally pay to sleep against a rope. That evening, Mr. Utterson came home to his bachelor house in somber spirits and sat down to dinner without relish. It was his custom on a Sunday, when this meal was over, to sit close by the fire and read until it became midnight, and then he would soberly and gratefully go to bed. On this night, however, as soon as the cloth was taken away, he took up a candle and went into his business room. There he opened his safe, took from the most private part of it a document endorsed on the envelope as Dr. Jekyll's will, and sat down with a clouded brow to study its contents. The will was a holograph for Mr. Utterson. All right, a holograph. Yeah, so they wouldn't fall over. Maybe they should start running ropes down the streets of Kensington like that. You know, it's a shame. Holograph. The will was a holograph. What's holograph mean? I like to know. You know what I mean? So that it says, though he took charge of it now that it was made, had refused to lend the least assistance in the making of it, provided not only that in case of the decease of Henry Jekyll, all his possessions were to pass into the hands of his friend and benefactor, Edward Hyde. Huh. So, huh. Oh, okay. Because they didn't like have copiers then. So they were like, so it was like a copy, basically. Huh. Interesting that they would use that word for it. Um, like it just seems like it seems like such a modern word for such a time, but I guess there's a lot of like fulcrum, you know what I mean? Lever and the fulcrum, but fulcrum seems like such a, I don't know. Because the ply was so similar to the murders. What do you mean the ply was so similar to the murders? Oh, the actor that played Dr. Jekyll was so. What do you mean? Was this? Oh, because it was written as a play the first time, Hidden Blessings? Really? It was a play while they were happening? Wow. The person who wrote it? Oh my God. It says, all his possessions were to pass into the hands of his friend and benefactor, Edward Hyde, but that in case of Dr. Jekyll's disappearance or unexplained absence for any period exceeding 3 calendar months, the said Edward Hyde should step into the said Henry Jekyll's shoes without further delay and free from any burden or obligation beyond the payment of a few small sums to the members of the doctor's household. Wow. This document had long been the lawyer's eyesore. It offended him both as a lawyer and as a lover of the sane and customary sides of life, to whom the fanciful was immodest. And it was his ignorance of Mr. Hyde that had swelled his indignation. Now, by a sudden turn, it was his knowledge. It was already bad enough when the name was but a name of which he could learn no more. It was worse when it began to be. So he could have been running home at 3 in the morning after, wow. Wow. It was worse when it had began to be clothed upon with detestable attributes and out of the shifting. Okay, my bad. Okay. A definite presentment of a fiend. I thought it was madness, he said, as he replaced the obnoxious paper in his safe. And now I begin to fear it is disgrace. With that, he blew out his candle, put on a great coat, and set forth in the direction of Cavendish Square. Okay, wait a minute. Was it 12 a.m. or 12 p.m.? This guy. I mean, come on now. Maybe it was 12 p.m. Who knows? I mean, these fuckers seem to be going out pretty late all the time. Why would he need a candle in his house if it was? I thought he said it was his dinner. All right, I'm so confused right now. I thought he goes to bed soberly. Didn't he say that? Now he's going out at this time of night? In the direction of Cavendish Square, that citadel of medicine where his friend, the great Dr. Lanyon, had his house and received his crowning patients. If anyone knows, it will be Lanyon, he thought. I wonder if there was a Dr. Lanyon at that time of Jack the Ripper and what was going on in Cavendish Square, if that was around where the murders were taking place. Like, did these people really exist? Does anybody want to look that up? I like to do research, and we can take a little look into Jack the Ripper and stuff too. Unless this is boring to you guys. I just think it's really intriguing to me that during the same time it was going on. The solemn butler knew and welcomed him. He was subjected to no stage of delay, but ushered direct from the door to the dining room where Dr. Lanyon sat alone over his wine. This was a hearty, healthy, dapper, red-faced gentleman with a shock of hair prematurely white and a boisterous and decided manner. At sight of Mr. Utterson, he sprang up from his chair and welcomed him with both hands. The geniality, as was the way of the man, was somewhat theatrical to the eye, but it reposed on genuine feeling. For these two were old friends, old mates both at school and college, both thorough respecters of themselves and of each other, and what does not always follow, men who thoroughly enjoyed each other's company. Dr. Lanyon is Lanyon, and Cavendish Square is Cavendish Square. Just wondering if in the 1880s, there was anybody existing. I know, right, Tomcat? Yeah, but it's hard for me to like go off this and look it up too. That's why I need like you guys as research assistants, because I like these researchings and like to intertwine the two of Jack the Ripper and this, because they're both at the same time. I find very intriguing. So once again, for those who don't know, I'm reading Jack the Ripper. I'm not Jack the Ripper. I'm sorry. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I'm very sorry. My apologies. It was written in like 1888, 1887, something like that, and takes place in London. And we were just saying how the coincidences of the Jack the Ripper, the timing, the place, all of that. So if you uh, read some of the research that the people in the room have been doing for anybody who watches this back, please be sure to read. I hope nobody by accident, like, well, these are both mods who are writing this, so we won't have that problem anyway, because sometimes by accident people will, time people out by accident, but they're mods, so it won't, no way, really. I know it was a three name. I could go back and see who wrote it. Here, I'll have you look it up. Hidden Blessings, if you don't mind. If and you don't mind. And there's another name, if you would look it up too, I would appreciate it. If one of you guys could look it up for me. My lovely, lovely research assistants. 1886. Okay. Robert Louis Stevenson. Oh, really? For Dr. Lanyon? Or for Dr. Jekyll? Robert Louis Stevenson is who wrote the book, Hidden Blessings, if you want to look that up. And it was dedicated to Catherine, Katharine, space, Matos, Mattos. That's who the book of NIR. Hi, Tomcat. We need a lot of research assistants in here when we're doing this stuff. We're trying to break the case of Jack the Ripper. Not necessarily, but where'd fax machines go? Usually they like to research too. And Chris and stuff. Some people don't like that. Okay. After a little rambling talk, the lawyer led up to the subject which so disagreeably preoccupied his mind. We need research assistants. Someone to look up Cavendish Square during the 1880s in London. Doctor was from Edinburgh. Of Dr. Jekyll. Okay. I was wondering if there was really a Dr. Lanyon around at the time of Jack the Ripper days. Named Dr. Lanyon, and what Cavendish Square was really, was that like somewhere near where there was any of Jack the Ripper murders? And Catherine de Matos with a K, and the last name is DE space Mattos. I wonder why though. What happened to that doctor? Hi, Mandy. Tomcat. What happened to that doctor that he based it on? Like he didn't know him because he wrote this book in the late 1800s. So I wonder how he heard of him. What did that guy do? What did Deacon Brodie do? If you don't mind looking at that, Tomcat. That's very interesting. He didn't know him. Hmm. After a little rambling talk, the lawyer led up to the subject which so disagreeably preoccupied his mind. I suppose, Lanyon, you and I must be the two oldest friends that Henry Jekyll has. About the writer of the book? I'll look. You know what? I was just wondering, like, you were saying that they accused him of being, perhaps Jack the Ripper. I was just wondering what you could find on that. Is that the guy? The the guy who wrote the book, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Chris, was there any murders of the Jack the Ripper sort in Cavendish Square in the 1880s? But I'm really, really curious. Oh, Deacon Brodie was famous for being of two-person. Oh, how interesting. I've got to look at that. I'm going to have to, we'll come back to this right here, definitely. But that I have got to look at. Oh my God, that is so interesting. I can't believe that. So deacon is not his name. He just became a deacon. Wow, look at this, huh? It says from 1741 to 1788. Often known by his title of Deacon Brodie, was a Scottish cabinet maker, deacon of trades guild, and Edinburgh city councillor who maintained a secret life as a housebreaker. What's a housebreaker? Oh, breaking into houses. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you, Chris. In 1774, his mother is listed. Oh, he became the deacon of Wrights and Masons around 1781. Well, that makes some kind of sense, right? 1774 is listed of head of household on Brodie's Close on the lawn market. What? The families are listed as Wrights and undertakers on the lawn market. What's the lawn market? By 1787, this is a year before he died, is listed alone as a Wright living at Brodie's Close. The house was built towards the foot of the close in 1570. Wow. Wow. That's so weird. And then within a year, he just died. Like young, too. By day, Brodie was a respectable tradesman and deacon, president of the Incorporation of Rights. What's rights? What is that, you guys? Like WRIG, is it? That's still the same as, I mean, so a deacon wasn't always like religious then. Oh my God. Which locally controlled the craft of cabinet making. So wait a minute. Meaning worker or shaper of wood. So is it like a union? It seems like a union. So later it became any occupational worker. For example, a shipwright is a person who builds ships and is often used as a British family name. A wheelwright, a Wainwright, a playwright. But this says, and deacon, president of the Incorporation of Rights, which locally controlled the craft of cabinet making. This made him a member of the town council. Wow, seems like a union, but like a, kind of like controlling the docks and controlling this, and much like today's day, right? In a way, kind of. Part of his work as a cabinet maker was to install and repair the locks. Oh my God. So he knew all the locks in the city. Right? Yeah, Mandy. So it says he socialized with the gentry of Edinburgh and met the poet Robert Burns and the painter Henry Raeburn, and he was a member of the Edinburgh Cape Club and was known by the pseudonym Sir Liliod. It's weird. At night, however, Brodie became a housebreaker and thief. He used his daytime work as a way to gain knowledge about the security mechanisms of his customers and to copy their keys using wax impressions. As the foremost locksmith of the city, Brodie was asked to work in the houses of many of the richest members of the Edinburgh society. He used the money he made dishonestly to maintain his second life, which included a gambling habit and 5 children by 2 mistresses who did not know of each other and were unknown in the city. He reputedly, I'm sorry, yeah, reputedly began his criminal career around 1768 when he copied keys to a bank door and stole $800, then enough to maintain a household for several years. In 1786, he recruited a gang of 3 thieves. John Brown, a thief on the run from a 7-year sentence of transportation. Transportation, a relocation of convicted criminals or other persons regarded as undesirable. Wow. Wow. I wonder what if he really was though. Like, was he really? He was on the run of a 7-year sentence of transportation. George Smith of Berkshire, who ran a grocer's shop. I wonder. Brodie was by 1785. Brodie was spending his evenings gambling at a tavern on Flesh Market. Ooh, Flesh Market. Who would shop at anywhere called Flesh Market? Ugh. Oh, it's a tavern. Sorry. Still wouldn't want to go there. Flesh Market Close, owned by a Mr. Clark, but his public reputation was high, and in the summer of 1788, he was chosen to sit on a jury in High Court. That case led to Brodie's downfall when he organized an armed raid on the excise office. He made a copy of the entry key using putty on an earlier visit, and having made a key simply unlocked the door. Brodie was accompanied by Smith. I'm shocked that like back in the 17, like how did they even? That must have been really hard to make a key, and were they all skeleton keys? And I mean, I, I don't know. I would. How the heck would they be able to make a key? Doesn't that seem hard to make keys back then? God, I guess not. They were all dressed in black and they carried a pair of flintlock pistols. They began around 8 p.m. and they were in high spirits and singing when they're going to do a like a robbery. I mean, come on, man. They showed a cache of duplicate keys hidden under a stone at the base of Salisbury Crags. But shouldn't he have copies of the keys? I mean, what if they lost their keys? I'm telling you, this guy kind of looks like he could have. Says, Robert Louis Stevenson, born Robert Louis Balfour Stevenson. Now, isn't that where the Queen goes? Balfour. He wrote Treasure Island. Yeah, don't talk about putting people in meat pies. Yeah, Sweeney Todd, right? Yeah. Hmm. Wow. I really kind of think that. it's a good possibility. What if it was considered to be like blue collar criminal? Like no, wait, what? It's white collar, right? White collar criminals that were being sent to penal colonies, and um, that's why the shit was there. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Were being sent to penal colonies. But the penal colonies really were, then they'd have, Captain James Cook, go and visit and bury some treasure there. You know what I mean? Like maybe because this guy wrote Treasure Island too, and he died on his island. On his island. To me, I find that really weird. Like, lighthouse design was his family's profession. Um, but their lineage goes back to Alexander Balfour. Remember, you would always say, yes, exactly, Tomcat. That's what I'm saying. They did very well financially at the end of the day. These were like beautiful Botany Bay, some bay I just read about. I mean, where Captain, James Cook shows up in 1788. This guy's grandfather owns furniture that was some of this. Ugh, I don't want to hear about it. It's and they would say, and his siblings included George William Balfour. Um, wow. With his father on the official tours of Orkney and Shetland Islands in 1869. I wonder if that was a wow. Ugh, gross. But the thing is that they needed them in order to figure out the human body. That's like Leonardo da Vinci. He did the what's it called? Something of man. You know what I mean? The something man. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Guy standing in the circle. And he did. He was brilliant, really. Oh my God, brilliant, brilliant. One of the most brilliant people ever to have walked this earth. Um, God, so incredible. Um, some of his inventions are still being, you know, are still being like they're making them because he didn't have the material to make these things. So when they ended up having the material and they made them, they work. I mean, that's incredible to me that he would have something in his mind before it was even able to be done and achieved. Is so incredible to me. I had no clue the Shetland Islands were as rich as they are. So crazy, these people. There's just no way, in my opinion, that that I mean, I know that they have found artifacts and things like that to say that America is America is oh, that's gross, hidden blessings. Um it really doesn't make sense to me that it's gotta be that somebody The heck is a crafter? What's a crafter? I don't know what a crafter is. What'd you have for dinner, Chris? Who farms a craft? Not what? uh, what is the name of the guy who's like the president of Israel or whatever, prime minister? Nebuchadnezzar, something like that? How the fuck did they destroy Solomon's temple? Mm. No, the other one though. The one for like, like before it began with an N. Okay, so I'm switching topic right now, okay? Um, um, yeah. How can people, ugh, how? I can't. Okay, all right. For Boohoo to keep saying that I support people who say the Holocaust never happened is ridiculous because, first of all, to say the Holocaust never happened would be just denying history that goes back so far that, you know, don't keep arguing with me about the Holocaust, Boohoo. If you want, let's talk about everything, okay? Um, let's do this because I realized that, okay, the other day, somebody put in their community post, I thought SG said she was Jewish, but she's playing a quote from the Bible. Jewish people read the Bible, okay? Um, so yeah, and to only focus on the Holocaust is pretty fucking ridiculous, okay? Because I want to know why the Jews are of such topic. Like it's a constant. Even, TH, or anybody, it's a constant in, society that there's this constant thing going on here. And yet, it's a religion, okay? It's a religion that throughout centuries, countries, other religion, everything. Okay, the Rhineland massacres, also known as the German Crusades of 1096. Okay, so that would tell me that history repeated itself over and over and over. So how fucking dare some people want to keep continuing to point out anything about anything about anything? I mean, why not just let people live in peace? Uh, this was a series of mass murders of Jews perpetrated by mobs of French and German Christians of the People's Crusade in the year 1096. The People's Crusade. Yeah, well, we know that she isn't. Anyway, the People's Crusade was the beginning phase of the First Crusade, whose objective was to retake the Holy Land and Jerusalem in particular from Islamic rule. After, in 1095, the head of the Roman Catholic Church, Pope Urban II, started to urge faithful Christians to undertake an armed pilgrimage to Jerusalem. The People's Crusade was conducted for roughly 6 months from April to October 1096. It's also known as the Peasants' Crusade, the Paupers' Crusade, or the Popular Crusade. So basically, they were just, kicking out, or telling the peasants to do with the pauper, as it was executed by mainly untrained peasant army prior to the main church organized crusade. So they were the collateral damage going in, basically. It was led primarily by Peter the Hermit with forces of Walter Sands of War. Okay. Hi, White Russia. So Peter the Hermit, also known as Little Peter, oh, good for him, was a Roman Catholic priest of Amiens and a key figure during the military expedition from France to Jerusalem, known as the People's Crusade and the murdering of Jews on the way. The Rhineland massacres. He is sometimes called Blessed Peter the Hermit, though he has not been beatified in the Catholic Church. Oh, of course he hasn't. Of course not. Because they only do that to people. They only canonize them that they think probably really may have been, touched by God. And then they canonize them 500 years later to cover their ass. Hi, White Russia. So he reaches the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. I don't even know how to say that. Okay. In your opinion. Hi, Chaos. Hmm. Huh. Huh. That's interesting. It says that church is in the Christian quarter of the old city of Jerusalem. According to traditions dating back to the 4th century, it contains two sites considered holy in Christianity. The site where Jesus was crucified. Hmm. And Jesus's empty tomb. Hmm. Hmm. Sharing property over parts of the church. I can't believe they're yelling and screaming downstairs again. The Passion of Jesus. So horrible. Hmm. Well, what's wrong with the? Well, you guys didn't block Maxine, did you? You can unblock her if you did. Mm-mm. She's saying the same thing that they've been saying that we've already known. But Maxine is just not funny. She's just desperate. You know, here's the thing that really gets me. Okay. All right. Let's do a little bit here. Okay. I'm so sorry, you guys. Okay. But Jesus wasn't rejected by men and a man of sorrows. That doesn't make sense. Do you think Jesus was a man of sorrows? Do you guys, anybody think that? I mean, because I don't know if I believe that. This is the first and most obvious one. Is supposed to be from Isaiah. Okay. 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 All right. All right. Can somebody explain to me what Zion and Zionites mean in Zionism? Can somebody give me those definitions, please? Okay. Okay. So here's the thing. Yeah, Maxine, if you got to keep talking about that and trying to stir up shit in here, you're gonna have to get, you're gonna have to think about it because I don't want that. Okay. Um. Okay. All right. So, when was the first edition of the Bible like actually put out there? The whole thing. We don't care, Maxine. Right, but I mean, 1200 BC. Okay. So that would make sense then if all these scribes were writing their accounts of these crusades going on and the different people who lived in Israel at that time were not always Jews. So when they're saying, okay, you are not the chosen one, you've done this, and he's talking to the people in Israel, they're not Jews. It's during, possibly during a time when they've been expelled. And he's talking to the people who came in there and were, trying to pretend. Yeah. Maybe they'll learn something over there then. All right, time out, Maxine. That's definitely Crystal herself trying to get some attention. You're absolutely right. See, we are right on the same wavelength right there. That is definitely her. Time her out, get rid of her comments, leave no trace of her, trying to get attention. We don't appreciate it. We don't care anymore, Maxine. You're not funny to us. You're pathetic. Because it says Christians interpret at least 3 passages of the Old Testament as prophecies about Jesus' passion. The first and most obvious is the one from Isaiah, which is the one I was just reading, which is either 8th or 6th century BC. This prophetic oracle describes a sinless man who will atone for the sins of his people. That is not true. Think about it. It just doesn't make sense to me, I mean, a sinless person, but then again, here it says how they describe him. Listen, he will save sinners from the just punishment of God. The death of Jesus is said to fulfill this prophecy. For example, he had no form or comeliness that we should look at him. No form or comeliness that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him. That's definitely a different way than I've ever heard Jesus described. In my opinion, I don't know if I'm wrong, but you know, well, it says this: he was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and as one from whom men hide their faces. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Well, yes, but the New Testament is based on the Old Testament, and these are the 3 passions of Christ that they're talking about. Um, this is supposed to be what their proof was, I guess, for it's, in my opinion, If he was the son of David, then he probably should have been the next on the throne. Some throne, right? Some particular throne. And they wanted to kill him off. But they wanted everybody to, not be Jewish, and they wanted, you know, to change history. God didn't say only go by the New Testament. Who said that? Where did you see that? That's, uh, uh, the Book of Wisdom, the Wisdom of Solomon, is a Jewish work written in Greek, most likely composed in Alexandria, Egypt, generally dated where they also were expelled from. No, he did not. He did not. No, he did not. God, nuh-uh. Um, the central theme of he wouldn't know, never. Yeah, we should know and respect all religious books, not say God said don't. No, my God, I can't. The first aspect is in relation to humankind. Wisdom is the okay. So this is the Book of Wisdom written by Solomon. Okay, all right. Composed in Alexandria, Egypt, which they did end up getting expelled from by I believe it was Cyrus of Alexander, but it starts with a C. Generally dated to the mid first century BCE. The central theme of the work is wisdom itself, appearing under two principal aspects. The first aspect is in its relation to humankind. Wisdom is the perfection of knowledge of the righteous as a gift from God, showing itself in action. The second aspect is in direct relation to God. Wisdom is with God from all eternity. It is one of the seven sapiential or something, or wisdom books. The others being Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Songs, Job, and Sirach. It is included in the canons of the Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church. Most Protestants consider it part of the Apocrypha. Yeah. The book opens with the opposed pairs, righteousness and unrighteousness, and death and immortality. Those who do not follow righteousness will fall into senseless reasoning and will not be open to wisdom. Wisdom is not an inherent human quality, not one that can be taught, but comes from outside, and only those who are prepared through righteousness. The suffering of the righteous will be rewarded with immortality, while the wicked will end miserably. The unrighteous are doomed because they do not know God's purpose, but the righteous will judge the unrighteous in God's presence. Ooh, I like that. I like this because that means that judging people who have done rotten things in life is okay. And a lot of people will say, you kind of hope, like say something happened. It says, okay, it says, this is the book of wisdom. That is the wisdom of Solomon. Okay. It was written in the late first century BC. All right. The book opens with the opposed pairs, righteousness. Hi, Sharon. Righteousness and unrighteousness, and death and immortality. Those who do not follow righteousness will fall into senseless reasoning and will not be open to wisdom. So that means that basically, because they're not righteous, they're going to sit there and reason away their behavior senselessly over and over and over and just be senseless, in my opinion. Mm-mm. No, you can't. You can't have everybody just living on the way they are and then say, "Oh, I repent," and then they're forgiven and then they have immortality. I mean, you can't. And it says, and that the righteous will judge the unrighteous in God's presence. It says Lady Wisdom dominates the next section in which Solomon speaks. She existed from the creation, and God is her source and her guide. She is to be loved and desired, and kings seek her. Solomon himself preferred wisdom to wealth, health, and all other things. She, in turn, has always come to the aid of the righteous, from Adam to the Exodus. The final section takes up the theme of the rescue of the righteous, taking the Exodus as its focus. You have not neglected to help your people, the Jews, at all times and in all places. Okay, Sharon. What was his crimes though before? I'm not sure what I believe now. I'm just reading right now. I'm just learning, actually. I never even knew there was a Book of Solomon and stuff. It does matter because that's like saying that somebody who stole a piece of bread can be hung, and that doesn't matter. It does matter. What was his crime? Did he kill somebody that didn't harm? What was the circumstances in his crime? Did he not? I mean, what was the circumstances? Well, I mean, how many charities have turned out to be crooked? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, like, unless he's Paul Newman, I mean, like what about the guy who, did terrible, terrible crimes his whole life? That person's blocked right now, right? The one I tried to block. Are they blocked? I think they're blocked. Um, right. So he had murdered. So he gave to charities. Did he not give to? He should have been given to the families that struggled after he probably murdered their, husbands and shit and their fathers. I should have been given to that instead of a tax write-off. You know what I'm saying? But there it goes. He gets to look charitable and, go to heaven while, maybe not, while, they're not black. Oh, they are black. Okay, good. Okay. See, with that kind of thought that they'll be forgiven regardless, then that means that everybody can just do whatever they want. I don't know. If it was James Gandolfini, I liked him. Is that who you're talking about? Or are you talking about C, colleague from I don't know, from Bronx Tale? I mean, here, yeah. I mean, to look at it that way, man, that means everybody can do everything. No, no, no. I know I said that by accident, Tomcat. That means everybody can do anything they want. So that makes the story of like, yeah, I mean, like that means people can do whatever they want, and then, and then just be like, okay, I robbed all these people and did this and did that, but here I am. I'm gonna repent now. Hi, Connie. Mm-mm. Then that means that there's no such thing as sin. No. No, he doesn't. That's why Leviticus, I mean, I see what you're saying, Annette. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I remember the story. Hi. Well, that's the breaks. That's the breaks. Okay. Who knows the story of Job, the book of Job? Am I boring you guys? I hope not. Oh, I gotta plug this in. Hi, Mr. Work. Thank you, Tomcat. I appreciate that. I'm sorry, random. We've covered many topics tonight, but I am gonna just quick rip through this. Okay. All right. See, I kind of like to know who wrote it, though. I should just use my Bible. So it says, okay. 2 dates involved. Okay, okay. All right. Remember I was saying earlier about how okay, Mr. Roy, about how maybe sometimes the Ugh. My sins? I don't think so. I wouldn't sacrifice somebody to save me. I wouldn't do that. Not that me. I do find it very interesting that they say that the composition of the Book of Job is anytime during the reign of Solomon to the time of Israel's exile in Babylonia. So that is where I'm saying is that it seems to me that a lot of the preserves much of the archaic and non-Israelite flavor in the language of Job and his friends, but he does also reveal his own style as a writer of wisdom literature. Okay, so in my thoughts, I feel like that Job was trying to hang on to what he had during a time, and he kept trying to think that, okay, so let's hear this out. Let's check this out. I In the land of Uz, there lived a man whose name was Job. The man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 donkeys, and had a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East. Now, what I'm thinking is back then, it seems like a lot of the people their wealth was measured in livestock, land, and servants, and in the size of the feasts that they would hold, you know? So basically, I think it was more a communal thing. They were taking care of the whole, you know what I'm saying? Says his sons used to hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. When a period of feasting had run its course, Job would make arrangements for them to be purified. Okay, now that sounds like they were sinning there. In my opinion, allegedly. In my opinion, allegedly, that doesn't sound right. Possible? Am I right? We're doing Bible study here. Sorry if that's boring to anybody. I'm just reading it as it is. Okay, can we move away from that and can we just maybe talk about a different part of the Bible and do some Bible study here? Maybe we'll find some things out that we don't know. It's kind of insulting to somebody who has Jewish heritage to say the slaughter of a Jew was for you guys' sins, because that's what a Holocaust is. It really breaks my heart. Every time you say it, I get a lump in my throat. Because that's why there's been so much slaughter of them. Because people have bought into that idea that that is okay. Sacrifice is okay. No, you didn't say that, but that's how I hear it and see it and think of it. Yes, probably Tomcat, but who knows? But it was horrible to be poor back then. You'd much rather be born into a household like that, you know? Why are you mad at me, Hidden Blessings? You've been stating your opinions throughout the whole chat. I can't state mine. How it makes me feel. I'm sorry if that's how it makes me feel, but I was talking about Job anyway. We weren't even talking about that. That's like you were pounding it. You were pounding it. Look at God in heaven sent Jesus to die for our sake. You know, you were pounding me with it, pounding me. Jesus gave his mortal life for our sake, pounding me. You want to know what I mean? I think it means to be born again and saved. I didn't say you said that, Hidden Blessings. I said when people say that, that's how it makes me feel. Not you made me feel that way. I've felt that way for a long time. Whether they were somebody with, say it was a black person and it had nothing to do with but he was Jesus. Do you honestly think that would fly if Jesus was black and they crucified him for their sins? Do you? I don't think it would. Maybe he was black. Who knows? But it was whomever they pointed out had to spill blood. Look at that's why Jews are hated, in my opinion. You know? Because they're supposed to be the chosen ones. And who knows? I think we're all Jewish in a way. Okay. Mr. Rourke, please. I would feel like if they said, oh, yeah, we gotta, it might give the wrong impression that, you know. Yeah, but we were talking about Job right now. I know. I agree. I agree. I was just gonna whip through Job. I don't know. I was just gonna read it though. This is just what the Bible. I was just gonna read it out of the Bible. I wasn't. Well, because Jesus was a Jew. Hidden blessings. This is pretty interesting. So listen. So basically, they didn't measure people's wealth by money. So I'm wondering. You're right, Mandy. You're right, Mandy. I find it interesting that he says his sons would all hold feasts in their homes on their birthdays, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. Then the father, Job, would make arrangements for them to be purified. Early in the morning, he would sacrifice a burnt offering for each of them, thinking, perhaps my children have sinned and cursed in their hearts, have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. My fucking cat is an asshole. That fucking hit that hit my leg and shit. That hurt my ankle. The fuck? This cat's a fucking dickhead. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. I get it. Hidden blessings. I get it. I get it now, hidden blessings. You're right. You're right about that. Okay. I get what you're saying. I understand. I see what you're saying. I apologize. You're right. I wasn't looking at it the way you did. Yeah, I wasn't looking at it the way you did. I get it. I don't know. I feel like based on what we had read, the oh jeez, this freaking oh my god, what the fuck? All right, so we all know that copies of stuff are not easy to make way back then. Okay. So if you wanted to make a manuscript of something, you're basically um, when did they start calling when did they start calling the devil Satan? No way. Help what? Yeah, here's the thing, okay? First of all, there's a lot of discrepancies in the Bible, all right? There really is. And when did Satan, I mean, you know, um, the Lord's Prayer, right? And they say, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Okay, so therein is the first hint that every day is a new chance at life. You know, there it is. It took me to get cancer to realize that, and I've known that prayer my whole life. Um, oh, okay. Oh, well, whatever then. Now I lay me down to sleep. I don't know. Is that a prayer? Fuck it then. Fuck it then. I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm trying to learn, but I always say something incorrect. There's always somebody, playing what I'm, thinking or saying and playing it somewhere and making fun of me and saying, yeah, but what is salvation, hidden blessings? You know? I mean, like, come on, man. What is salvation? Does anybody really, really think it was like okay what Hitler did and that he got salvation? Do people really think that? Do people think that? Do they? Ugh, that makes me sick. Truth is, you said that God said don't read the Old Testament. Okay, I'm going to read this. Okay, this is from Philistines 4, called Practical Counsel. This is from the New Testament. So then, in this way, my dearly loved brothers, my joy and crown, stand firm in the Lord, dear friends. I urge Euodia, which is spelled capital E, U, O, D as in Debbie, I, A. Could somebody look that up for me? Capital E, U, O, D as in dog, I, A. And I urge Syntype, which is spelled S as in Sam, Y, N as in Nancy, T as in Tammy, Y, C as in cat, H, E. Can somebody look those two things up for me? Sweet fragrance of possible. Wow. Chaos has it. You have it right there, right? And Syntyche, literally with fate, are people mentioned in the New Testament. I urge Euodia and Syntyche to agree in the Lord. Yes, I also ask you, true partner, to help these women who have contended for the gospel at my side, along with Clement and the rest of my co-workers, whose names are in the book of life. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let your graciousness be known to everyone. The Lord is near. Don't worry about anything, but in everything through prayer and petition with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses every thought, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable. Maybe they could be more specific. Maybe they could be more specific. If there is any moral excellence, if there is any praise, dwell on these things. Do what you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, and the God of peace will be with you. I rejoice in the Lord greatly now that now at last you have renewed your care for me. You were, in fact, concerned about me, but lacked the opportunity to show it. Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to need to go back to the very beginning of this because, I mean, I can't just start in the, you know what I'm saying? Rented house. Wow. Wow. They killed him anyway, didn't they? Paul, didn't they kill Paul? Paul and Timothy, slaves of Jesus Christ. What? To all the saints in who are in Philippi, including the overseers and deacons. Huh? Grace to you and peace from God our Father and Lord Jesus Christ. Uh, oh my God. So he was like in prison the whole time. Oh my God. Okay, so basically, okay, okay. I'm sorry. Sometimes I read fast and I'll read because listen, okay, so listen, this is what I'm thinking. Okay. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. After Jesus was crucified. Hey, Car. Hey, how you doing, Car 18? Sorry, I know we're just doing this like research thing. Sorry, I know that sounds funny, but they needed to rewrite some stuff. Okay? They needed to write some stuff. And they wanted him to, in a way, denounce Judaism. Am I right? I could be wrong, but to like confess, oh yeah, we're switched, to promote this in his letters, right? I'm talking about the apostles, right? Okay. So what I'm thinking is, okay, they were friends of his. Hi, Simka. They were friends. They were friends of his, right? Friends of the guy, friends of his. And I do know from what I've heard, that you know, we'll never know if he really, did die, or what, became of him. But I will tell you that there is such a thing as a dive reflex, and it's knowing that he went to John the Baptist, which is not Bible. He did go to see John the Baptist, which isn't usually something that, Jews don't usually get, baptized. But here's what I'm thinking, that there's something called the dive reflex in everybody. And it's this urge to live. Okay. But it's also, in my mind, it's an urge to live. But you can, like, the body has this urge to live, it wants to live. So it's going to panic, it's going to fight and try to come up for air. The dive reflex, the part about it is, if you are on land and you hold your breath, you can train yourself. That's how long distance, underwater swimmers do it. You can train yourself to hold your breath 2 times longer. Well, you will hold your breath. The longer you train yourself to hold your breath on land, you can hold your breath 2 times longer underwater. Okay, hidden blessings. I already know that. Is she behind in the audio? Because I'm not sure why she keeps repeating things. I mean, I thought we had already moved from there. Can we just, can this, I'm not understanding the repetition of it. So, but the body normally, its obvious intent is the will to live. So I often wonder if, when people are being baptized and they're shoved underwater like that, and they have, somebody pushing their head down underwater, if they went there seeking something because they were feeling sorrowful and maybe they wanted to die, that when pushed underwater like that and held down, the fight that all of a sudden is in them to come back up, your own body pushing it, is almost like feeling like, oh, I don't want to die. I'm born again. I want to live. In my opinion, I'm just giving my thought of it. So I think that this guy here, right, Paul, they wanted to keep their friend's existence alive, right? But they were forced to do it in imprisonment, because he was defending his thoughts, Yes, she does have every right to express her belief. She does. I'm just wondering if she's not, if she thinks that I still am angry at her or something. I wasn't angry in the first place, but and she knows I believe in God. I do. I believe in God. She knows that. She's helped me through very crucial times, where I just needed to hear something, and hidden blessings is always there. I love her. I love her to pieces. I just don't want, I don't know if she's behind in the audio or not, you know? Oh, okay, I'll chill. So I'm thinking that he kept talking, like writing these letters because he loved his friend, you know? And that he was in prison anyway, right? He was in Philippi. So this is green, okay, so here we are. I give thanks to my God for every remembrance of you. Every remembrance. I feel like this is about his friend, Um, always praying with joy for all of you in my every prayer because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. I am sure of this, that he who started a good work in you will carry it in your completion until the day of Christ Jesus. It is right for me to think about all of you because I have you in my heart, and you are all partners with me in grace, both in my imprisonment and in the defense and establishment of the gospel. For God is my witness, how I deeply miss all of you with the affection of. Now, I have to wonder, does anybody think maybe that what, like Christ Jesus? I mean, like, when did that start? I mean, is it possible that it was, kind of slipped in there? Maybe he wrote Jesus and maybe they added Christ Jesus. I'm not saying that, but the whole Christ thing and the Christian, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, it kind of, you know, and Christmas and I'm not saying that Christmas was then either. I'm just saying that you know what I mean? Like, I'm just wondering if that was something that he was forced to insert in his stuff in his writings because he was in, imprisonment. Um, for God is my witness. Okay, here we go. Okay. Um, and I pray this, that your love will keep on growing in knowledge and in every kind of discernment, so that you can determine what really matters and can be pure and blameless in the day of Christ. Okay, pure and blameless in the day of Christ. I mean, what do you mean? Like he never met him? Really, Simca? Hmm. So, So that at the name of Jesus, every knee should bow of those who are in heaven and on, and gave him the name that is in. So is it possible that since he was still humble even to the day, of dying, that was his, his show of faith to everybody? Although I had confidence, if anyone thinks he has grounds for confidence, I have more. Circumcised the 8th day of the nation of Israel, the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew born of Hebrews, as to the law, a Pharisee, as to zeal, persecuted the church, as to the righteousness that is in the law, blameless. But everything that was a gain to me, I have considered to be a loss because of Christ. More than that, I also consider everything to be a loss in view of the surpassing value of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord. Because of him, I have suffered the loss of all things and consider them filth, so that I may gain Christ. Really, Simca? And he wrote all this? How? Who blocked any questions? How do you know all that, Simca? Um, oh, it says his name was Saul, but this is a different Paul. Right, but I mean, scientifically, isn't it possible that Huh. I don't know. It's a shame. The name Old Testament was devised by a Christian, Melito of Sardis. So, wait a minute. It is. We couldn't. I know. It's like Elijah is in the Old Testament Israelite prophet, the pupil of Elijah. Also instigated and directed Jehu's revolt against the house of Omri, which was marked by a bloodbath in which King Ahab of Israel and his family were slaughtered. God, constant. In the meantime, the Jews were probably like, the kingdom of Israel itself. Jezebel attempted to introduce into religion and governments that were common. She tried to set up the worship of the Canaanite god Baal in the city of Samara. So he was married to Jezebel. This roused the bitter hostility of the Conservative Party. Conservative Party, so weird, which clung to the sole worship of the national god Yahweh and at the same time held to those democratic conceptions of society that the Hebrews had brought with them from the wilderness and had consistently maintained. Wow. Hmm. The word Tartarus, hell, and the ancient tribal name of Tartar, borne by some of the nomads. This is a Genghis Khan. Then he comes around. I mean, you got to think about it. There was all kinds of fucking. My God. And do they go by the Bible? I mean, in China and in other countries, are they reading like I mean, that's what I'm saying. They must have their own history written though, right? I just find it really strange that there's like, what about America? Like, there's no way if all these places like Germanic and, and all these places had their history going on, what's up with the US? You know what I mean? Do they sometimes? Wow. It says first people in the Americas were like in 15,000 BC. It doesn't fucking say much about that. Why are they doing that? Oh, I don't know anything about that. The English, drawn in by Francis Drake's raids on Spanish treasure ships leaving the New World, settled a strip of land in 1600. This guy landed in 1524. I mean, the Swedish Empire. I mean, they were just all coming over here, huh? Wow. Killed them off with a lot of their diseases back then. Yeah, well. Yes, history could take forever to, to learn it all. I mean, there's really a lot of history throughout life and everything. So I just want to say, hey, thank you for sticking through with me tonight. I hope we all learned a little of everything. Who knows? Peace, love, and tacos, you guys. Take care. Stay healthy. United we stand, divided we fall.